Welcome back to Tools and Trails. Today, we're going to take this old Monte Carlo, we're going to make it into our next off-road trail rig. Yep. Nope. It doesn't even run. Not four-wheel drive. Not nearly enough ground clearance. Yeah. Maybe we'll see if we can make it run. It's been sitting in a while, so let's see what we can do. I feel like I should have a mullet. Well, no, we're not going to make an off-road rig out of this car. Not even close. So what I have here behind me is a 1987 Chevy Monte Carlo SS. These things are kind of starting to get a little bit rare, you know, kind of fun. But really the reason I am filming this is I've always wanted to do one of those videos, you know, where a guy goes in and gets something running that's been sitting around for the last 30 years or whatever. And wouldn't you know it, I got this in my backyard. It's not mine, but you know, it's sitting here, so I figured, yeah, we'll see if we can make it run. Anyway, like I said, 1987 Monte Carlo SS. This is the year I graduated. These were kind of some cool cars back then. General Motors just sort of threw a bunch of parts at them to make them a cool car. The SS's, they had a Corvette camshaft, they had Chevy Camaro crossfire heads, they had Z28 suspension, they ran a 373 gear in the back with a TH200 4-speed automatic transmission, at least in the later ones, and that made it a little bit quicker, plus a little easier to drive down the road with. Pretty popular in the 80s and reasonably quick. You know, they wouldn't run with the Camaro or the Z28s or the Mustang GTs or the Corvettes, but you know, it would run 16.6 seconds in a quarter mile at roughly 83 miles an hour, somewhere around there. So decent on the performance. So kind of a fun car. They also were kind of cool in the fact that this is a G-body, and the G-body was it for this kind of body, or this kind of car. The two-wheel drive, live axle, rear-wheel drive, V8 in front, you know, that classic sports car. After this, that was gone. GM didn't make that anymore. And you know, Monte Carlos, after these areas, they went back to, you know, 6-cylinder front-wheel drive, you know, and not really all that exciting. So that's kind of fun. So this particular car used to belong to a buddy of mine, and it's here because, well, long about a year or so ago, him and his wife split up, and she seemed to take out her anger and rage on the car, and I'll show you that in a little bit here. So, man, them ex-wives, you got to watch out for them. I'm telling you, it's not pretty. Anyway, she took the Louisville Slugger after this thing, and yeah, the car paid the price. But it's still here, reasonably straight. It's all whole, and I think we got a shot at making it run. So, according to him, it hasn't run since the early 2000s. We don't have an exact date. And I'm hopeful that we'll get it running, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But let me bring you in, and we'll kind of tour around the car and take a look at it and see what we're dealing with. And it's not pretty. I'll tell you that right now. It's not pretty. So I know some of you might be saying, well, that's not an SS. It doesn't have any of the stripes and whatnot on it. And well, that's true, but that wasn't necessarily a requirement. And you know, I did check the VIN number, and you know, based on the G in the 8th spot, and the 7 in the 12th spot, and the 11 in the 4th and the 5th spot, and you know, built on Tuesday or whatever. But I checked it. Okay, it's a legitimate SS car, so that makes it kind of rare. But would have been nicer, you know, if we didn't have these kinds of decorations on it. You know, that's what a baseball bat does to a car behind an angry ex-wife. As does that, you know, and all that. Same thing with the trunk, broken lights, you know. Yeah, she kind of got after it. But we got the dual exhaust. Those are probably not real. Back here on the, we do have all the matching original wheels on it, which is kind of cool. Most of this paint, this is just, it's been sitting in Arizona for a long time. So does have the T-tops. That's kind of cool. So, open the door here. Oh, it's been open in a while. You know, door panels are not too bad. Dirty. Don't know what the floor's like, and I'm not going to grab into that pile of stuff with my bare hands, I'll tell you that. Oh, some pliers. Huh? And a wrench. Might need that to make her run. Guy always needs a good pair of needle nose. Yeah. Yep. Water back there. Back seat's in pretty good shape. Headliner, not so much. Kind of missing a few pieces, and yeah, that's what the Arizona sun does to the dashes down here. It's not good, but that's minor. I think mostly we're just dirty in here. So, but we're not going to mess around with the inside a whole lot. Oh, there's the antenna. Found that. We'll have to see if the radio works. I don't know. All right, well, let's go up front here. Let's talk about talk about the business end of this car. Yeah, gonna need a new mirror. Took some beating there. Let me pop the hood and we'll get into the engine here and see what that looks like. All right, so under the hood here kind of tells us a little bit of a different story. Number one, she's been sitting for a while. Number two, sitting in my backyard for a while, which is not a good place for a car to sit. I got all these mesquite trees around and pack rats and stuff, and you know, they like just bringing in all these mesquite beans and stuff and dropping them everywhere. Next thing you know, these things are just full of garbage. So I went ahead and got in here a few weeks ago and put in a bunch of these dryer pads, and hopefully that's kept them out. I think it's helped. So one of the first things that kind of comes to mind is seems to be some extra room right here. So yeah, and that's consistent with what I was hearing from my buddy. Apparently this car started having overheating problems, and I think there's a freeze plug that's blown. I'm not sure where. We'll see if we can find that. He said all the cooling parts are in the trunk, so we're not even going to dig those out. The goal is to just see if we can get this car to start up, fire up, see if it turns over, see if it runs. But this is why it was parked, and from what I understand, was parked again somewhere around 2000, somewhere in there, which, you know, that means it was only on the road for 13 years. That's not a long time, so I'm fairly optimistic that the motor is probably going to work. That's one reason. Number two is it's a small block Chevy, which you just don't bet against small block Chevys. It's like betting against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. You just don't do it. These things could sit up behind the barn for 40 years, still fire up. So, you know, I think it'll work. I did cheat just a little bit. I've already tested to see, and it does turn over. So we have that. I don't know how many wires and stuff in here that the mice have gotten to, so that could be a surprise. So I think what we'll do first of all is probably take off the air cleaner here. We'll maybe clean out a couple things, and then we'll just see if it cranks over. We'll stick a battery in this thing and see what happens, I guess. Let's start with that. Okay, well, I got most of the big stuff taken out, so started kind of poking around, and you know, this is typically not what you want your spark plug wire to look like. When you take those out, they shouldn't come out like that. That shouldn't have an end on it like that there. So, and I noticed a wire over here that's been chewed through, and then I got a strange red wire over here that I'm not sure where that goes. It's broken. It comes from, I don't know, goes down in here somewhere. I gotta track that down. So I might have an issue with some spark. We'll see. But I think first off, we're just gonna see if We could stick a battery in this thing and just make it turn over on its own. Start with that. Let's maybe check the oil here, see if it's got anything in it. Probably is a good thing. Well, there's some there. It's a bit below the add mark, but yeah, we'll maybe dump a little in there just for safe measure. We'll see. I don't suppose we'd get so lucky as to have ATF fluid. Would you look at that? She's full. Okay. Well, if we make this run, this thing could actually drive. Who knows? We'll see. Okay, well, I'm going to go get me a battery, and we'll go from there, I guess. Okay, got my old battery set in there. It looks like not much, but it does have a charge. Just kind of eyeballing things here to make sure we don't have any smoke coming off anything here in the engine bay. So far, it looks pretty good. Don't smell anything. Just some burning rat's nest. Well, let's see what happens when we turn on the key. Oh, and by key I mean this. Yeah, we had to drill out the ignition, but I think I can get it to turn on this. Nope. Nothing. Okay, well, let's do some digging. Alright, well, I did some wiggling here and discovered I had a bad connection here on the negative. This was just not working right, so now got me some clickage going on in here. And I think what that is some of the smog control deals. We're going to just let that click. Ooh, sure enough, got me the service engine soon light. That's positive. I wonder if the starter works. Had a buzzer there for a second. Oh. Huh. You know, I think the radio might work. Where's the power? Well, I'm not getting any engagement on the starter. So I wonder if the lights work. We got a buzzer. You hear that? But that is it. Oh, check this out though. We have lights. We have lights. What about the tail lights? Got some tail lights? Yep. Yes, we do. I know, pretty faint. They're there. Okay, we're gonna have to do some digging here into the electricals because I noticed I'm missing a few things from the panel under here, so I need to do some digging. Make sure that's not where my starter issue is coming from. So I'm going to do some digging into that. Well, we're back to working on the Monte Carlo. Was rolling around out there in the mud in the dark one night, in the backyard, and a thought came to me, and I thought, you know, this is dumb, you know, happens to me once in a while. Why don't I just bring it in the garage? So, grabbed a teenager, and we pulled it in here where we can be a little cleaner. You know, I don't mind getting on my back on the floor in here, so that's one thing. So, that's where we're at. I think before we go any further though, I'm gonna vacuum this thing out because I can smell it here in the garage. The inside of this thing, it's smoked in for 30 years, and then it sat in the sun. It got wet. Man, it's ripe. It's not good. So I'm gonna clean that out first, get me some surgical gloves and a hazmat suit, and get in there on that. Then we'll get back into the engine here. We got to get into the starter a little bit. Something seems to be going on there, and I'll bring you up to speed on that. But first off, got to get the vacuum cleaner out. Okay, so I think where we left off last time, I had power, had lights, but the starter wasn't engaging. And I did a little bit of research, and I found out this red wire here that we had up behind the engine running across, and it's been chewed up a few times, so it's not complete, but that was going to the starter. And what happens a lot on these is I had the exact same problem with my El Camino. Is you turn on the key, you got power to everything, but when you hit the starter, there's just nothing. And what it is the link between your ignition and the wire on the starter that actually engages the starter. Somewhere that is broken. And so my guess is that at some point along the way, that wire got broken anyway. It goes down on the right side of the engine and goes through a metal tube that protects it from the exhaust manifold and whatnot, but that gets broken. And what they did on the inside, they had this little button right there that they used as a starter. So this probably went wrong. So what we're trying to do now is try to get the starter engaged. I do have a remote starter. I need some better ends for the battery cables, so I'm going to replace those. It's easier to get to the starter by taking off the wheel on the left side, so I'm going to take that off, and we're going to play with that, see if we can't get that figured out so we can get that to at least turn over. And then I think all this red wire and mess here, I'm just gonna, cut it off and get it out of the way. So we'll start with that. I know I have some other things to address, plug wires and things like that. I want it to get turning over first, and then we'll get to that stuff. So hang in there and we'll get after it. Well, I was digging in here and I noticed something. I don't know if you can see, but back there where the header comes off, there's no exhaust pipe hooked up to that, so she's going to be a little loud. So, I looked underneath there. I say, well, where is it? Of course, there's the muffler and there's a piece missing. But then I noticed this over here. That's supposed to be covered. So, yeah. And I can't seem to get this started to turn over. This thing's probably trashed. So I don't know. There's some wires hanging down there. I wonder what those go to. Probably up in there. I don't know. So we're going to try a little bit longer, I guess. If we can't get anywhere, then I'm going to just call it. turns over. Okay. Now we've got to put the battery charger back on. Probably test for some spark. And yeah, and then maybe throw some gas down the throat. Okay. First test fire in 20 years? I don't know. Long time? Yeah. Got my fire extinguisher over there. Let's see what happens. There goes nothing. She fired. Okay. Try that again. Okay, we gotta let the battery build up a bit here, but yeah, that's gonna go. That is gonna go. I'm gonna try it one more time. Give her a little from this side here. Open that up just a tad. Okay, we're going to let it set for a bit. Fired though, so that's promising. Yeah, I'm going to let this. I'm going to let this battery charger work a little bit. Sounds like it's got some compression, which is good. Yeah, I think while that's doing that, I'm going to drop a little oil down in it. I got some Superflow. I don't know when this was manufactured, but you know, I guess it's the same age as the car, so you could say it was formulated especially for this model. Sure, let's go with that. I'm going to go with the mobile and put a little bit in her, call it good. Got here fired. They don't want to, so I better leave it alone. You know, meanwhile, I think I'm gonna see if I can get in the back, and I got the back seat out. I'm gonna see if I can get into the trunk, see what's in there. So, you know, I turned that off. That's why it's not. Yeah, get a little more crank in the battery here. I might take a look at that car, see if I can get some gas in the bowl. Maybe even hook up a line to the fuel pump. Yeah, we'll see. Let the battery charge. Okay, I think we're ready to try it again here. Had the battery charger going. Kind of looked at the carb a bit. I thought about popping the top off, but these quadrajets are a little complicated. I'm gonna leave it alone. So what I have done though is I unhooked my fuel pump down here. So got this, fire hazard fuel pump here. But the nice thing about this is I'm gonna be able to see if I'm pumping up fuel. So I unhooked the deal and I've got a little gas can down here. So got that hooked into the fuel pump. So hoping that draws up some fuel and we can get her started that way. So it fired, so I think we're gonna make some progress. If I can keep some fuel coming to it, then this thing's gonna work. It's gonna be loud. We're coming straight off the headers here. We don't have any connector pipe from the engine to the exhaust, so if it goes, it's gonna be loud here, but let's give it a shot. Okay, ignition is on. Pour a little gas down this thing. Open up. Let's see if we can't get something just running down there. So, all right, here we go. Come on. Trying. She's trying. Well, she's fired. It wants to, but I think just not getting enough gas to it probably would not hurt to put plugs and wires and cap and rotor on it. I may do that, and I may get just an electric pump just to get some gas pumped into it and see if that'll do anything. But it's wanting to go. It's wanting to fire. So that's good. That is good. We're going to try it one more time here. I've got just a little gas left in my jug here, so I might as well get rid of it. Come on. It's gonna go. If I can get some gas to that thing, it's gonna go. So I think that's what I need to do. Get my battery charged up good. Yeah. I'll look at some other stuff here, but we're gonna get it. Okay, well, we left out yesterday. Got the old Monte Carlo here to fire, so it's very encouraging. Would like to see it run a little bit more, a little bit longer. So we're going to go ahead and replace the plugs and wires on here. Two reasons. One, some of these are still chewed through. Don't know what these plugs look like. I did pull one. It was so-so. But I got new ones. Might as well put them in. And then we'll try it again, and that will also tell us if we've got the right firing order on the distributor, so kind of need to check that anyway. So got my buddy Jim coming over to help me, and then I think I'm going to see if I can't get into that trunk, because I'd like to put the muffler connector in here So we're not coming straight out the exhaust manifolds. It's really loud, really pops. So anyway, we're gonna jump right back into it. Okay, after much drilling, there's the dust. Okay, flip her open, Jim. Let's see what we got. Well, what do we have here? We got the spare tire.
It looks okay. The spare tire.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to stay up by itself very well. I'll hold it.
Okay. I'm going to pull this out. Oh.
You might want some gloves.
You know, Brandon warned me about that. Here. You got 2 hands? I'm going to grab some gloves. Yeah. Good idea. After I grab some rags. That's all that tire slime.
That's why you don't put tire slime in a tire. You must be really desperate if you put tire slime in your spare.
On a donut.
On a donut. That's yeah.
Yeah.
That was what I was really trying to say there.
Okay.
We get some carpet scraps.
Hey, there's some.
That might be our exhaust pipe we were looking for.
There's my exhaust pipe that I'm after. What do we got here? This is T-top bags. Man, these are nice. That's nice.
That doesn't have tire slime on it or anything.
Another one. Those are great shape.
Back up.
Probably worth
Hey, look.
something.
It's my number one fan.
Huh?
My fan.
Yeah. This is the exhaust.
It looks like telephone cable in there.
There's the shroud. So the 2 pieces that I'm after are here. This is one. That we'll be able to put back on. This is the other. So this is the shroud for the transmission. Got a hole in it. A couple holes in it. We're not going to worry about putting that back on, I don't think. Not now. Oh, here's some lighted glasses.
They turn on? I doubt it.
No. Need some new batteries. What else we got in here? I'm not digging around in this stuff with my gloves on. There's a headlamp. Oh, some fishing lures. Baby blue eyes. You know, I have one of those.
They're probably nice and stinky for fish right about
Those
now.
are some good ones. I might hang on to that. What do we got here? Black & Decker case. The other half of the shroud. Jack. I'm thinking that whoever drove this was a telephone guy. Lots of telephone stuff. That's some socks.
My big toes could use those.
Yep. Some rope.
Is that a pipe for whacking somebody on the head with down there?
Right here. Cheater bar.
That's a hell of a cheater bar.
I might be sticking that in the box. Okay, well, what do we got here? Oh, it's a
Oh, good, a duster.
duster. Yeah, maybe could have used that before. Drill bits. What do we got here? Is this AQ policy. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, well, there's our stuff.
Treasures galore.
Ready to go back in. All right. Well, got what I was after. That's the big part. I needed that. I don't suppose I'd be lucky enough to find bolts in here. Maybe that's
Maybe if you clean out everything really well.
maybe that's what's in here. Nope. Wire nuts.
And batteries. Oh, not batteries.
Tire iron. Some other bracketry. Don't know what that's for.
Goes on the hoolie dub.
The hoochie watch it?
Yeah.
Here's some bolts. I don't think that's for this. Okay, well. Will it latch again? Okay. Let her
Fire in the hole!
Yeah.
Yeah, fuel.
Huh?
There was fuel in there.
It's not leaking, right? I don't like that it's just rapid racing. Try it again.
Something's got out the back.
Yeah, go ahead. Massive air leak.
There's a whole bunch of
Yeah. See
stocks,
how,
a whole bunch of stock stuff that's not here.
yeah, see how loose that is right there?
This is all.
Yeah, but this is right on the end.
Yeah.
That's so. Woo, man, she's loud.
That was running.
I'd like to see if it'll get to idle. Go ahead.
Oh, it's already going.
Okay. Yeah.
Here we go. Fire in the hole. Oh, it's already going. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Fire in the hole.
I might pull it in. Okay, success. It runs. Little noisy, doesn't idle. So I'm sure the old quadra junk carburetor here is totally gummed up from sitting for 20 years or whatever it was. But you know, it fires up pretty easy. Takes right off. We've got fuel pump works. I've got fuel up through the filter here and into the carb coming from the tank. So yeah, I think next step is we might drop it down off of the jack stands here. Might see if the transmission is going to work. See if it'll move forward and backwards. Yeah, but success, I think. We're not going to dig into that carburetor. I'm going to let somebody else do that. Those things are just too much. Plus there's about 79 vacuum tubes that are either cracked or disconnected. I got plugs that are not plugged in. I don't know where they go to. I got lots of wire taped together. Massive air leak on the back side of the carburetor. That's probably why it won't idle. You know, usual stuff. So, but runs pretty smooth. So take it as a win. I'm happy. Okay, it's time to see if this thing rolls on its own, forward, backwards, forwards, whichever. So we went ahead and connected the Y pipe. So we got the exhaust manifolds connected to the muffler now. We still do have a massive exhaust leak on the right side, but we're not going to fix it because I'm betting that thing's coming off again, probably. So that's one thing. The other thing is we took the carburetor off. We got the thing, and you know, this thing wasn't idling last time, and so figured, you know what, let's just pop that off, see what it looks like. The spacer plate between the carb and the manifold was 180 degrees, upside down, backwards. You had you could have put a bolt in the backside of that thing. It was leaking so bad. So no wonder this thing would not idle. It was not even close. So we fixed that, put a little sealant around there. Probably not supposed to do that, but cleaned her up good, stuck it back on. Test fire says it does idle. So a little fast, but that's okay. So yeah, we're gonna fire it up here and let it idle down. Let's see if we have some oil pressure. Don't know. And then we'll see if the tranny works. So let's go.
Oil pressure.
that has been sitting in Arizona for more than 20 years. We can't verify the exact date, but talking to a buddy of mine, this car belonged to his ex-father-in-law. He passed away in like early 2000, and it had not been running since then. So he had been trying to get it going, but anyway, so it is sat here. My buddy had plans to get it going and do stuff with it, but just, you know, one of those things. So just to kind of tell you why we did this. So it's not my car, right? It's at my house, but it's not my car. So I had actually sold it to my brother-in-law, and his plans are to make it into kind of a autocross type car, a little bit of a sleeper maybe, make it look fairly stock but have it perform. And so we wanted to see what he needed to start with. So if the engine was bad, his first deal was going to be to put an LS in it. So we wanted to play with it a little bit for two reasons. One, I wanted to see if we could make a run, and we did. And number two, then we could tell him, yeah, motor's good or motor is shot, let's start with an LS. I think now with the way it is, yeah, there's some things to work on the motor, but it seems pretty good. We weren't able to check oil pressure, but it sounds really strong and runs pretty good, responds to throttle really well. So some headers, clean up some of the smog stuff on this thing. I think it runs really well. So he's probably going to start with suspension and brakes, and on an autocross course, not getting a ton of speed, this is probably going to work pretty well. So I'm going to be delivering up to him up in Montana here in a couple weeks. But really stoked, had a lot of fun, got really dirty, got grease everywhere. You know, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing this again. So stay tuned for that. We'll try to find us another one to work on. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I definitely want to do it again. So thanks for watching. Please hit the like and the subscribe there on the channel, and we'll see you next time on Tools and Trails.